Okay, I'm going to show you another example of animal feed to help with your project. So a rancher is mixing two types of food, brand X and brand Y, for his cattle. Brand X contains 15 grams of protein and 10 grams of fat and costs 80 cents per unit. Brand Y contains 20 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat, and costs 50 cents per unit. If each serving is required to have at least 60 grams of protein and 30 grams of fat, how many units of each type of food should be used to minimize the cost to the rancher? So to start, we need to make some decision variables. There's two brands, brand X and brand Y. So the quantities I'm going to represent with X, and X will be the units of brand X food, and Y will be the units of brand Y food. The units that you use for your project could be ounces or grams or even pounds, depending what type of units you wish to use. So make sure you pick a unit that you're going to use consistently. At the end, you will be able to tell how many grams of each food or how many ounces of each food are needed. The objective for this is the equation that represents the goal. The goal in this case is to minimize cost, which is up at the top. So if we want to minimize cost, we have to write a cost equation. Brand X is, looking back up, 80 cents per unit, 0.80 X. Brand Y is 50 cents per unit. And that equation will give us the cost, which we wish to minimize. Okay, so now moving down to our constraints. We have two. We have constraints on protein and we have constraints on fat in this problem. So I have to write an equation for fat and protein. Looking back up at the top, the required protein is at least 60 grams of protein. If you were doing your project and you found percentages, you need to actually calculate the percentage into grams. So for example, if I find out, and this would be for an average animal, so an average animal. So if I find out that my animal needs to eat 6 ounces of feed on average, and my unit is grams, I would need to convert my percent of protein to grams. So let's say that the animal needs protein, they need 12% in their diet. So we're doing the average, so 6 ounces. I'm going to convert that for grams. There are 23.8 grams in 1 ounce. So that would give me a total of 142.8 grams on average that a chicken eats a day, or whatever your animal is, per day. So taking that into account, if they're going to do 12% protein, I need to find out what is 12% of 142.8. So I'm going to multiply by 12. Whoops. Let's get back to where we were. Going to multiply by 12%. And find out that my animal needs 17.136 grams of protein. And that would be your goal for one day. So going back to the problem that we were working on, you're going to notice that they need 60 grams of protein. So I have to look at each food. And if we need 60 grams of protein, let's write an equation for protein. Well, my computer is Rebooting. All right. So going down to 60 or to protein again. Let's try this again. Protein. So brand X has 15 grams of protein. Brand Y has 20 grams of protein. And that must be greater than or equal to 60. Now for the fat, they need a total of 30 grams of fat. There's 10 grams in brand X plus 5 grams in Y, and that must be greater than or equal to 30. At this point, you need to graph your equations. I'm going to pause this video and continue in a second video. So this will continue in video 2.